Hello everybody. Let's just get to here. Today we're going to be doing something a little special than the usual mess. Today we're going to do something that I like to call, I took a while to think of this, airing dirty laundry. As you can see, I have a FimFiction account and I have a lot of dirty laundry. The taste of shit. Interesting. Right. So basically, with the incoming time of that's not even words. Uh, with National Novel Writing Month incoming in about 20 days, 10 days, 10 to 11 days, 10 to 12 days. I want to get some practice in. So to get some good practice in, I decided to go back to FimFiction and edit some incompleted works. Take a good look at my previous writing style and just get some inspiration just to build myself and just get in the habit of writing again. So, and out of a lot of thought, I've decided to do this one, La Petite Motte. As you can see, I have little tags here called with themes of sex. It's an alternate universe. It's dark, romance, well, and it's very sad, I guess. Oh God. Because I'm just thinking about the many parts that I gotta get through. Now, seeing as this is being recorded, and it's very unlikely that most YouTube screens are going to be in full screen, I'm going to be increasing the size. That's gonna be screwing up with my own perspective though, because oh God, that's disgusting. Oh God, okay. What's the size that I get? That's 150% in size. Hopefully I don't have to, everyone can see this. Okay. Now I need to get editing. Now I've unpublished away. This thing has had quite a few views, 42 comments. And a fairly decent rating system. Yeah, 40 out of 15, not bad. But I'm guessing the 15 is just because of the poor grammar, because I'm very lazy with editing. That's why I'm coming back to here to do some cleanup works. Well, there's nothing to it. Let's get to it. Yeah, let's get started. I guess you can say this is kind of a live reading, a dramatic reading as well. Oh God. Okay. So, it was a cold winter in Equestria, harsh winds and blizzards blowing almost every day across the vast expanse of the domain. We were so close now, having endured so much in the long journey. I felt my hope reignite as the Everfree encroached the I felt my hope reignite as the Everfree encroached on the distant horizon. There was no going home now. She had come too far, keeping the foal of a night of passion instead of taking another's own, fleeing the city of love Saint-Gault and then fleeing further outside the region of Cheval and into the royal domains of Canterlot. The little one has had a hard trip. Her dainty little legs had been galloping with all her might, following me as I chased a seemingly impossible dream. I couldn't afford any regrets. As of now, I actually cannot. Actually, oh my God, I can't word. As of now, I actually couldn't afford anything. Okay. I think this section is a bit like there's exposition here, but I think I can space it out a little more. There was no going home now. She had come too far. She, keeping the foal of a night of passion, Fall of a Night of Passion instead of taking another's own. Fleeing the city. Okay. This she implies Lemaire, which is the character that's currently doing the narration. But I think I added the she here because she is actually La Petite, who followed her through this long journey, because this refers to her past, to Lemaire's past, and what her objective is. So this seems completely out of place. Maybe if I moved it away. Maybe I've moved it here. Couldn't afford any regrets. As of now, I couldn't actually afford anything. And then you add exposition here. Would make more sense. Keeping the fall of a night. Keeping a fall of a night of passion instead of owns another. Fleeing the yeah. Couldn't afford any. Ah, there we go. Couldn't afford anything. I couldn't afford any regrets. I couldn't actually afford any. As of now, I actually couldn't afford anything. I'm thinking of splitting up these two, but these two phrases come up as a decent 1-2 punch. So I think I'm gonna keep that. Alright, let's do a reread. The little one has had a hard trip. Her dainty little legs had been galloping with all her might, following me as I chase a seemingly impossible dream. I couldn't afford any regrets. As of now, I actually couldn't afford anything. Keeping the fall of a night of passion instead of taking another's own. Instead of taking another's own. Keeping the fall of a night of passion instead of taking another's own. Taking another's own. See, what I don't think I expressed that correctly, because what I was trying to express here is the fact that she had an illegitimate child. She had a child of passion that she didn't really abort. She kept it, and as a result, she had to run away from Sangol if she wanted the child to live. Because in these settings with royal families and everything, and lineage and bastards and everything, you have to consider the fact that, you know, possible heirs might be gotten rid of, just to simplify the matters in terms of heritage. And she and Lemaire was a very important noble in Sangol. So, taking another's own. Keeping the fall of a night of passion instead of taking another's own. Another's own. That would imply she was going to adopt someone else. Adopt another person's child. Keeping the fall of a night of passion, that's keeping a bastard child, instead of taking another's own. Another's own. No, that's not it. That's not correct. Instead of taking a full born from no passion. Born from no love. Fleeing the city of love. Okay. Let's see if this works right. Keeping the fall of a night of passion instead of taking a fall born from no love. From no love at all. Fleeing. Maybe semicolon? Fleeing the city of love, Sangol. Yeah. Because of this here. It has to be a semicolon. Just for correct grammar. Fleeing the city of love, Sangol, and then fleeing further outside the region of Cheval, which is the region that apparently neighbors Equestria. Okay, region of Cheval and into the royal domain of Canterlot. All I had was immaterial things for myself, like hopes and dreams. But my crimes, my precious La Petite, needed what little strength I could muster to survive a cruel world. Needed what little strength I could muster. Okay. Yeah, that was correct. And I give all of myself willingly. If not for myself, I would like to at least find my new life in Canterlot amicable for her. Amicable for her. Just that semicolon? No, I'm using that to way too much. I would maybe a full stop. Might be unnatural though. If not for myself, full stop, I would like to at least it's more natural, I say. I would like to at least find my new life in Canterlot amicable for her, just so that my little one can live happily ever after. A very magical phrase here. It's key phrase for the whole plot. It's the whole theme. And for just that, I could stop calling myself a terrible mother for bringing her into God, just use words. Okay. And for just that, I could stop calling myself a terrible mother for bringing her into the world. My world. Very clear, important distinction here. Because she has quite a backstory. But you'll find out later if I can actually complete this. 3,000 words to go through, and I'm going very slow. I fear that I might have to come. Let me just bring it all the way down because I'm done with that part. I fear that I might have to place all of my aspirations through her, my heavy burden on those tiny shoulders. I now know. Ooh, that could be another. I now know love is the cruelest thing in the world. Double L. Strange spelling. Thing in the world. Might even be the correct spelling. Don't remember ever spelling it like that. Is that an American spelling, perhaps? We'll see when I start writing things in European spelling. Like armor. I now know love is the cruelest thing in the world. Cruel in the way only a mother would know. That's a good line. I like that. I was very... in these days, I was very rough. But I definitely have potential. I wonder if I can replicate that during a National Novel Writing Month. Or... Right. So years later, would be in the center, because I apparently think I am writing a screenplay. So I have these asterisks. Yeah. As far back as I can remember, my mother used to tell me all sorts of stories. Each had their little princess, and the dashing prince sweeping her off her feet and taking her far, far away. God damn, that's a really run-on sentence. Each had their little princess. Full stop here. The dashing prince. No, wait, no, that's a natural sentence. No. Each had their little princess, and the dashing prince. And the dashing prince that would sweep her off her feet. He would take her far, far away, where she would live happily ever after. My prince was going to find me someday. She promised he would. And he was going to give me all of his love, and then I would be happy. Until then, I intend to wait patiently waiting for the prince who would take me away. Why? His hoof came swinging for my face. It hit squarely on my cheek. My face bloomed with feeling. And my puffed cheek tingled as I smiled at the sensation. Mr. Blue Pony was a prince I loved, but he'd never take me away. He'd always come to me and meet me here whenever he was upset, and then leave again. He would leave me here, waiting for him once again. Maybe someday he'll finally do it. Someday soon I would walk on the ground where the other ponies where the other ponies play. Someday I'll leave this room. I've just realized I have a weird fascination with putting little girls in rooms. Because I have another story which has a little girl who spent all her life, which she was actually also an illegitimate child, trapped inside a room because the outside world is cruel, and she would be forced out of it because if she stayed there she would have died. And by pure serendipity, she had to go through an abandoned mansion. But that's another story entirely. I might explore it someday. It's actually a game I wanted to make, based on a morality system. But that's something entirely. I might explore the I might explore the Twilight Wars series. I think that's what I'll call it, the Twilight Wars, because it has something to do with the sun and the moon goddesses fighting each other and fighting for the right for the sky, and hence the whole land was in eternal twilight because it's in perpetual warfare. Anyway, back to focus. Someday I'll leave this room. This room atop this hulking tower, where through a crystal window I can see the other world move below. Other world move below. God, I definitely had solid theming here. Why couldn't I make that Pegasus mine? His hoof slammed around the pillow on my head, the distinct thump having me imagine the distinct crunch I'd feel if they connected to me. Such a soft flowing pink mane, such a calming yellow coat. Ooh, I wonder who that is. And eyes so innocent and pure. Draping himself above me, he kept me at hoof's length. God, pony fan fiction speak. Lexicon is weird. I could easily convert this into actual legitimate original novel. Original long story. No way this is going to be a novel. But it made its mark in the fan fiction. I'll keep it a pony fan fiction. I might use some themes, maybe steal a few lines. But first I need to actually complete this thing. Okay. He looked into my eyes with water raining into my face. The saltiness tickled my cheek. I wanted to rise at him. Shivering because it's cold. Let me warm myself up. Okay. I wanted to rise to him and see his eyes up close. I wanted to feel the warmth of his closeness to me, but I couldn't. My body wouldn't let me. Damn it, damn it, damn it. He smashed down 3 more times, hitting me directly on the face. With the force of will I rose a little, just enough to make my wants known. He met me halfway and held me within his arms, whimpering into my tiny little shoulders. That seems a bit weird when she acknowledges her own tiny shoulders. If it was from a first person perspective, you'd be acknowledging the person's largeness compared to your own smallness. Whimpering into my tiny shoulders. He met me halfway and held me with his arms, whimpering. Let me just try this. Whimpering. His form form taking me? Bit forceful, because it would imply that she didn't want it, but that's the exact opposite. Into his possession. Yeah, that seems more appropriate. It more implies that she gives herself to him. Okay. Princess had such broad shoulders. Oh, now I say it. Fuck. I should have read ahead. Oh well. Okay, let me just read it. He met me halfway and held me within his arms, whimpering, his form taking me into his possession. Princess had such broad shoulders, and it was so tall as to have me crane my neck to reach those shoulders. Their arms were so long, as if they were made for the purpose of holding me as tightly as any pony could. God, I don't think I could ever write like that anymore. Just writing ponified terminology. But I do want to complete this before Halloween, ideally. God, this 50 minutes till midnight. It's gonna be a long. About a fifth of the way. I can do this. I could barely see anything over his shoulder. His dirty yellow mane were in my eyes. Hours of being together had ruined his nicely greased hair into an unkempt mess. I think this happened right after the Galloping Gala. This implies it, at least. That being said, it doesn't have to be. Because in canon, the elements of harmony weren't founded yet. Equestria was entirely ruled in a totalitarian government by Celestia, who is an empress in this one. And Nightmare Moon was still on the moon. She's not an issue yet. Might be a good development, but that'll be way too forced. I want this to be a prequel to what happened before on season 1. I think that's what I had in mind. It's been a long time. I haven't looked at my old notes. I don't even know where my old notes are. Oh wait, it's on my old laptop, which got lost. Oh well. So I'm gonna have to commit to memory or make something up. Okay, so hours of being together had ruined his nicely greased hair into an unkempt mess. Nuzzling, I moved the hair aside so I could see the mirror behind me on the opposite side of the room. I looked at myself and smiled. At the other me looking as happy as can be. Her eyes so big and round. Oh, that's a great excuse to describe the character. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay. I think I remember being impressed with myself with that, and I'm impressed with this as well. It's a very basic trick, but I'm impressed that I used it. I actually had the forethought to actually think of it. Her eyes so big and round, mane silky and smooth, giving just that little extra cheer. Water leaked out of her eyes. Ooh. Oh yeah, she's talking about herself in third person, as if she was talking to. She's looking at her mirror image. Okay, she's looking at her mirror image and referring to it as a different person as opposed to herself. That's why. Okay, that's why I switched. That's why I switched. Water leaked out of her eyes and her mane covered the unsightly bulges and bruises. At the sight, the smile grew wider. Why did I put that there? Let me see what happens next. I could feel Mr. Blue Pony shift in the moment myself passed. At the sight, the smile grew wider. I think I just added that for dramatic effect. Oh well, I'll keep it. I could feel Mr. Blue Pony shift in the moment to myself passed. I blew into his ear just how he liked it. I felt his body shudder with delight, and his breath calmed away. His breath calmed away from his whimpering. That's a better word there somewhere. Better yet, take a word away. And his breath calmed from his whip. Oh, I get why I put away. Calmed from his whimpering. Calmed from his breath calmed from his whimpering. Shouted with delight, his breath calmed from his whimpering. Yeah, that works. He kissed my neck. He kissed again, over and over, faster and faster, along my nape. He grunted with such greed and wanton, growing more intense with each touch upon my body. Reaching a crescendo of passion, he bit into my shoulder as hard as he could. He let the blood pool in his mouth and sucked greedily, because he's a vampire, apparently. Sensation across my body exploded and lingered in wavering pulses. Yeah, because it throbs. Because pain tends to throb when you've been shot with adrenaline. Yes. Well, technically adrenaline numbs it for a bit, but afterwards, when it becomes sore, that's when it starts throbbing. Yes. But I'm guessing like this I think I'm implying here that this happens for a while. He does it for a while, to such a point that the shot of adrenaline wears off, and then it lingers in wavering pulses of pain, or sensation, as she likes to put it. I gave him a small squeaky yelp with every gnash and suck and lick. He chuckled lightly to me. His blood kiss went on until it did went on for a while, until the bleeding slowed, and from there he moved to lick a line across my throat, leaving a dirty crimson line on my white coat. I turned away from him to look into the mirror, and his arms draped itself across my waist. He had made me a necklace of rubies. Looking at him from the mirror, I saw him smile as he took a hoof to my chin to turn my head back to him. Took my lips and let his tongue dance with mine. And that's her internal thoughts, because I use italics for this. Italics for thoughts for this one, because there's a lot of internal monologue, and I wanted to separate it from narration. Because narration, though it is a thought of the character, it's not within real time. It manipulates time. Am I happy right now? Mother once told me that happiness was this nice warm feeling. My face felt warm, and all over I felt heat sting with burning sensation. They left me short on breath as every little movement tingled along my body. They left me short on breath. Oh, okay, it's talking about burning sensation, so the previous sentence that would make sense. My little Lala, my precious Lapikit. And then there you go. That's her name again, and that's gonna be how people refer to her, formally and informally. He held me so tight. His body felt so warm. That must mean that he was happy too. This is what it means to live happily ever after. I love you. I love you too. Yeah, I left this intentionally vague. Like, you can tell it's between the two characters saying I love you too. But if you think about it, if Lala was the one who said it, or said the first one and then he replied, or if it's the other way around, it has different implications. So I just left that vague on purpose for food for thought. I should do that more often on my novel. I didn't actually think to do those. I should. It's pretentious as fuck, but I like it. I love that stuff. Okay, laying my back, I gave myself entirely to his passion, and that's when That's the old classic James Bond moment when the camera pans away and they roll away from the camera to get what they're getting. Yeah, I really did write this like a screenplay. God damn. The only screenplay that would actually take this would be Paris. It's definitely smutty enough. Smutty and pretentious enough. Mother taught me what the most important thing in life is. So important, in fact, that she was willing to die for it. For love, she had me. For love, she saved me. For love, she died to find me Prince Charming. Love is the desire to keep someone inside you and hold them dear. And she took that quite literally. Just to note. Just something to note. Love is like a flower blooming inside you. Like a rose blooming into a bed of petals. Love is something only another pony can give you. Mother wanted it so badly because she knew that it would bring her happiness. So, this is what her mother told her, and that she meant it all metaphorically, but she took it very literally. Oh dear. But hey, she's a young girl. In fact, I think I'm implying she's really young, like preteens, adolescent, or maybe like early teenagers. But you know them horses, they're fertile within a year. So, yeah. If this was a non-pony thing, it would be creepy, I guess, because it's okay to screw 1-year-olds when you're a horse. Anyway, I want it, master. Yes, and then we establish that she says that to people. Jesset loved this game. So this is another person entirely, because he's not Mr. Blue Pony. He's Jesset. Jesset, you know, that guy from the series. On my back, with my limbs tied to the bed, my eyes. Oh dear God, this really would be a friggin' a Parisian screenplay smut film with silken cloth. Okay. Okay, let's get serious. On my back, with my limbs tied to the bed and my eyes blinded with silken cloth, he'd insisted on winning his game of no contest. Yeah, I love that. That's a good one. Winning his game of no contest. That's strong. For me to just lay down and give myself to the victor, a spoils to him. He liked it best when he always won. Because he's winning a game. He's winning his game of no contest. Oh God, that's good. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna say that a lot, because I do remember I did some solid writing with this. It's rough as hell in form, but execution on some concepts and stuff. I've had like all sorts of really awesome lines here and there, and then mediocre storytelling. Say it again. The long shaft of the riding crop slid around my rump. Wouldn't be across. Slid around. Yeah, around. I would imply she's very plump and rounded. Yes. In anticipation, I flinched at his touch. I heard him laughing, the kind of laugh I'd only hear when I was like this. I want it, master. The sharp crack at the tip of the crop hit me, and I yelped at both the sound and feeling. You want it where? He whipped me again on the same spot. He tasted the rawness of the place and tenderly caressed. So that implies he licked. He licked that place. Just somewhere around the butt. God, imagine she farted that time. The tingles up my spine were having me twitch. I wanted it inside me. My inner thigh bloomed in sensation. Tenderly he kissed where he had hit me. I want you to love me, master. Jesset chuckled at the remark and then hit me, hard, in quick succession. My rump, my chest, and thighs exploded into happiness. He hit so sharply each time that I could feel blood wetting me all over. I felt his hoof rubbing against the wounds, making me flinch away at first, but soon his touch felt warm. The wetness of my hot blood painted all over me like a new coat. The smell and feel of blood wafted across my body, and I could feel him take a deep, breathy chuckle, tasting me without touching. Yes, I think I was describing that sensation where when there's a strong odor in the air and you breathe through your mouth, you can actually taste the air particles. Particularly when there's like really delicious food around or something. Or dog shit. God, the taste of dog shit. Or perfume in the air, when the vapors of perfume gets in your tongue and you taste that chemically. God, for a writer, I'm really bad with words, aren't I? Anyway, I felt water stream out of my eyes as all at once he came inside. I yelped in reaction of the sheer girth, because she's really young, of how it felt too big every single time. Yeah, that's how I was exploring this. Sheer girth. It's not like that he had a big dick. It's the fact that she's small, and how I could never get used to this feeling. The enormous eruption of feeling, and the iron sticky wetness as my insides were forcibly stretched and seemingly ripped. Because I didn't really know if she actually got treatment for vaginal ripping, or if the vagina was actually that versatile that it could take that much all at once, and without actual contractions. So I was like, seemingly, I guess, because I'm not sure. I don't have a vagina. I don't know I didn't know the actual extent, but I didn't want to. God. Yeah, it's best not explore that thought. Yeah, I had a thought, but I'm not gonna say it out loud. To add my cacophony of joy, he whipped my rump once. He made himself comfortable. He just loved the feel of my raw rump, my raw flank. He worshipped it. He dominated it. He liked to think he owned it. And as every stroke speared through my insides, I yelled and screamed and moaned. He would hit me at every instance of speech. He will speak when spoken to. Yes, master, this feeling. This is what love is. So yes, this chapter is exploring her ideas of what love is. The way she's treated, the way her ideals meet reality in a twisted way, and that's how she's grown up around these people. This is what she's always known. God damn, I really do like the trope of abandoned child with twisted ideals. It's a good one though. I like it. I should practice it more though. But that's another time. For now, I'll focus on this one. But as soon as November comes, I'm gonna be writing something completely different. Okay, ponies are so petty for getting a. I think this one's good actually. This part, I remember this one being fairly interesting. Ponies are so petty for getting aroused at the prospect of demeaning you. He pushed my head further towards him, forcing himself further into my throat. I'm gonna leave this dramatic pauses just for you to contemplate what I just implied there. Cause like I just read it, I give it a moment's thought, and then I realize and just freeze up. So when I have moments of pausing like that, that's what happened. And like, oh god, I actually wrote that. Okay, that happened, and then I just move on. Instinctively, I struggled as he held me in place. letting any desperation reach its peak before he let go. Okay, what am I saying here? I'm getting tired, it's midnight. Instinctively I struggled as he held me in place. Yeah? Letting my desperation reach its peak before he let go. Okay. So, she's being held down, she's struggling, because she knows he's being hurt. To such a point that her instinctive self-preservation instincts are taking over, that she doesn't want the treatment she's getting because he's being overly sadistic. At the very instant he left my mouth. Yeah, I said that. He released plentifully all over my face. Yeah. That's the thing I wrote. Because to demean you would mean to treat you like a pony. While I coughed, he took his time to deliberately increase the press of his hoof. As he makes ready? Made ready. Past tense, buddy. While he coughed, he took his time to deliberately increase the press of his hoop as he made ready to stamp. Either or. Stamp is better. It's a stamp on me, because it sounds sudden. Stomp is just like exactly the same. Okay, never mind that thought. Stamp. Yeah, stamp. I'm gonna stick with stamp. Because it seems like a more mechanical movement, like it's a natural movement because it's a mechanical movement, while a stomp is something you think to do. A stamp would be something that's natural to do. But that might just be me being weird and interpreting words. His forehoof easily covered a good portion of my back, and with barely any resistance he had flattened me into the floor, like I was an insect crushed beneath him. 'Cause she's small. Get it? 'Cause she's small, guys. Yes, cough. My prince. 'Cause he's an actual prince. He's not a master. This earned me a kick in the ribs. You are no pony. You do not have the right to refer to me to such titles. For good measure he trampled all over me outright, like I was some sort of doormat. You are less than an animal, an object, my plaything to do with as I wish. God damn, I write some really terrible characters. I coughed blood as his hooves stamped into my back. Once more. No, he's been doing it the whole time. His hooves continued. Yeah, there we go. That fixes that. He held his right forehoof over my head like I was a prow of a ship. And his other hooves... That's my midnight alarm. Let me just close the door. Turning it off. I'm just gonna close the door. Hopefully it drowns out the sound. Worst you'll hear a door close. Solidly on my back, I could barely breathe. My strength was rapidly waning. I could feel my ribs. Oh yeah, this situation was actually kind of rough. I was really channeling my S. I could feel my ribs teetering towards shattering under the strain. His horn flared into light, and a distinct humming of magic filled the air. He stepped off of me, just short of me passing out, and then kicked sharply at my ribs so that I would turn over. Now on my back I could see he held 6 floating red and black candles. They moved slowly around me in a loose circle, widening and tightening at his whim. His eyes Wait, they moved slowly around me in a loose circle. His eyes were wide. Okay. Because I know what's coming up. And the way he's going around her is, for what I want to do, for what to happen would be she would be above her. A loose circle above her. But I think that's giving it away. Oh well. His eyes were wide as he focused on each candle in turn, lighting them. Okay, so they're not even lit yet. As the first touch of melted wax, I unconsciously shriveled into a ball. But his magic held on me and spread me wide. So this is her. This is testing her understanding of what love is. Like there are sometimes people who take it really way too far to such a point that like this isn't what happiness is. This isn't what love is. So this is her moment of doubt. That's what I'm trying to apply. And this, like, sometimes this occurs and she's been contemplating this. Because these people have been with her for a long time. Maybe, like, I mean, not me, maybe. I know she's been with people for years. I'm not going to reveal how long. Because, yeah, I'm just going to say she was taken in while she was young. And she's still fairly young. But still older than she was before. Like, by at least a year or two. I'm going to give you that number at least, 2+. But I'm going to be implying heavily that it's more than 2+. It's more than 2. It's more likely to be more than 2 because of the extent of her experience with this idea of love. So now my back, I could see he floating there. Yeah, they moved. His eyes, yes. At the first touch, I unconsciously shriveled into a ball. So that's her feeling the love, but some part of her is rejecting it. But his magic held me. His magic held on me and spread me wide. Be still. Each time the wax hit, something below it sizzled with an angry heat. Well, I guess he's using magic, because wax doesn't really sizzle when it hits something, except when it's really, really friggin' hot. Because when hot wax hits like flesh, oh god. The fact that I'm describing this with such knowledgeable detail. Anyway, the moment when okay, let me just clarify. I handled wax before. I've handled candles before, and I've burned myself with wax before. I know what happens. It's not the fact that I'm into BDSM or anything, and like putting wax candles, burning wax into naked ladies or anything like that. Let's carry on. So let's just carry on. I just watched a lot of hentai. Okay, each time the wax hit something below, it sizzled with an angry heat. Because wax doesn't sizzle. It doesn't fizz, it doesn't... I guess he's using magic, so it may be like upon impact, he ignites it with extra heat and then it does sizzle. That being said, that will cause permanent scarring, but then again, Equestria has medical magic, so it's fine, I guess. I'll keep it. Tiny speckles hit me all over, one even landing at the lid of my eye. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. God, jeez. Did I really okay. God damn. Because, like, now that I've established that magic is involved, that it superheats the wax, that landing in the eye, oh god. Ooh. Okay, alright, carry on. You know, I like you like this. His eyes calmed into a low purr with his voice. What? His blue eyes calmed into a low purr with his voice. Like his voice? Because I know what I'm saying. It's like he was angry before. He was like pissed and raving, just like Blue Pony on the very first story. Calmed into a low purr, like his voice. Okay, this line's dumb. Okay, his blue eyes calmed. His blue eyes. Is angry blue eyes. There you go. Angry blue eyes. Calmed. His voice. Yeah, just separate that into two sentences. His voice. God, I'm really slow at editing. Right, his voice. Had calmed into a low purr. Yes. There we go. He settled beside. Ha! Okay. He settled beside him. Me. And absently played with my mane. Yeah, there. Okay, that makes more sense. That is what I intended to write. I thought I was trying to imply something really weird, but nope. Thinking about it, it's simpler than I thought. Anyway, carrying on. I need to get this done. I'm not even halfway through. Dear God. Okay. Every time a drop of wax neared to falling at his reaching hoof, he teleported a droplet into somewhere sensitive. I yelped for his pleasure. So it's no longer her pleasure. It was never, like in this whole situation, it was never for her pleasure, even though she associates a certain sensation as pleasure. Or rather, she acknowledges a sensation as something to do with love. That's going to be explored later. Lifting my body by the mane, he propped me on. This is it. This is the part. Lifting my body by the mane, he propped me on my hind legs, which is apparently painful for horses, because and forced the muscles there to cramp as I stood there rearing for far longer than any should harmlessly do so. I found myself whimpering, with water leaking from my eyes as fire burned into those legs. 'Cause like, if you want to replicate this feeling, try assuming the ski position. Like, look at a picture of a person skiing. Assume that position and hold it for as long as you can. Once you start feeling the burn, you'll know what this is like. But it gets worse. You are a candle stand now. She's not even an animal. She's an object. I think that's why I put the line there. He was no longer rotating the candles, instead pouring pools of wet wax into me before placing a candle there. One at the end of my stretched forehooves, one on each shoulder, one burning on my horn as it apparently it's like the Fanon. Horns are like really sensitive, so I used that, and I used it as a point to imply like putting burning wax on a penis, because of that curse that was it Blue Joke? The Blue Joke flower, which created the Twilight's penis horn. Everyone thought horns were as sensitive as penises, and hence a lot of porn did a lot of horn rubbing as a form of foreplay. So one burning on my horn as it stood on my snout. So it's on her horn, and all the wax is just pouring down her snout. And one just balancing on the small of my back. So that's around where the saddle is. Or is it like just before the hips? Because the small of the back in a human being is just around the hips where you wrap around the woman. I knew that because I watched Casanova. He knew no pony could hold this position for long. So he took it upon himself to keep his magic holding me up. Because he's a dick. Muscles all over burning, and my sensitive parts searing. Because he did that. Because that happened. Yeah, I like that line because I don't even have to say what he did. You know what happened. You know what he did, and you know. Oh, you know what I'm implying that because I'm obviously implying that he's a complete prick this whole time. Okay, now I've lost my place. Where was I? There we go. Oh, yeah, this is where it gets in. Okay, he stared, looking into my eyes. That continued to stream a river down my cheek. God, she must have run out of tears by now. Or maybe she's been doing. Actually, some people can't cry for hours on end. I don't know. And across my body, I will admit it. But then again, this is fiction. Everyone cries for hours and days. I will admit, La Petite, Cantelot's precious Lala. I'm jealous of you. Blah. Words. Speak them. I am jealous of you. And those last words, the bit of venom. Okay. I will admit, La Petite, Cantelot's precious Lala, I am jealous of you. At those last words, a bit of venom in his words suddenly had his magic constrict, forcing my lungs to exhale suddenly and struggle to inhale again. My concentration on the burning of my home broken to explode my mind with feelings. Yeah. Let's just roll with that. You are the gem of high society, I whimpered as a drop of wax seared my left hoof. Specifically. For no reason. The pony everyone wants but never have. A drop of wax sizzled upon contact with my snout. You know, again. That fixes it. More wax, more contact. The sensation being nothing short of miraculous as my body shuddered beyond even the control of magic. It's like this is her body. No. Saying no. The candle on my rump fell over, spilling hot wax all over my tail and down between my rump, because I'm a sadistic fuck, burning as it went before setting. Seeing that the magic was purposely diminished, and I dropped to the floor twitching all over. Ponies would sell their futures and fortunes to own you, but you aren't for sale. What we can only hope to have is your time, and what we buy is never enough. And this is, at this point, I just stopped trying to describe what he does in every single fucking line of dialogue. Because it's not really important what he does here. You can just imagine. I should be braver like that in the other one. Because there's a lot of exchange dialogue. And it is common practice to just establish a line of dialogue and assume most readers can actually tell who's speaking a lot of the time if you write the dialogue well enough. Alright, each time we meet, I die a little inside beloved Lala. Prince Blueblood held a hoof to my cheek and nuzzled me. But there was no anger there. The air filled it. Good line. I like it. Despairing at how I'm supposed to be the creme de la creme. The highest upon high society. I'm a descendant of a goddess. God damn it. Bitch. Ass. Mother. At this final remark, the flames that were beginning to burn the white carpet flared into gouts of fiery light. and then diminished, leaving behind a dim orange dusk to fill the room. Did I just imply the room just set on fire? Like a magnesium fire, and then it just went up in flames, and went up in normal flames? Like, so so the flames went up to super hot, like magnesium white light hot, and then that ignited the carpet even more, and then there's fire in the room right now. I'll keep that. Okay, but nay, I have to be content. Despite my high title, despite my breeding, despite my charm and beauty, I am but second fiddle to you. Using what little strength to rise, I came as Blueblood's hooves held me close to his face. And you know what really drives me insane the most? The deepest despair I hold in his heart of mine. God damn, I've gone like Shakespearean. Once it's not a Shakespearean, I've gone archaic. More correct. Once I had managed to fully rise to my flimsy feet, Blueblood held me close, water from his eyes mixing with my own. Like every morning, I love you too. And the room is still on fire, by the way, but this is an end scene. God, does Equestria have fire alarms? That would be beeping right now. Carrying on. Okay, now the story begins. So I've established there are several different people, her role in society, how everything goes, and what her past is and what her ideals are, and maybe she's, and how twisted she can be, and how twisted people who visit her be, which reinforces her delusions. But at the same time, reaches to such extremes that she questions what she actually knows as the truth, as her truth. Hopefully that comes off with the first read, because this recording has gone on for quite a while. Hopefully people get it. On the highest suite of the most extravagant hotel in Canterlot, at the zenith of the sun, the whole at the zenith of the sun, the whole room fills with light. Okay, at the zenith of the sun, so at noon. Fills with light, as if the goddess herself watches over you in that room, blessed for a moment with paradise and happiness. Okay, and the highest suite of the I think I can do a full stop here. It's a particle. It's an incomplete sentence, but okay, there needs to be a pause here. But it might just be because I've zoomed in 150 times and all the sentences look friggin' long, despite being really short in number count, in word count. Oh well. At the zenith of the sun, the whole room fills with light, as if the goddess herself watches over you in that room. Yeah, and that carries on. Blessed for a moment with paradise and happiness. If you could pay a prince's fortune, Yeah. Okay. If you could pay a prince's fortune, you can taste and touch and smell and hear everything you've ever wanted in life, whether you knew at the time or not. That's a really long sentence. You can taste and touch and everything you've wanted in life. Pause. Whether you wanted to or not. Wait, full stop actually. That'll be fine as a full stop. Whether you knew at the time or not, everything that all of Canterlot desired could be yours for just that moment. Pony Joe had been hearing the idle rich. Yeah, because the idle rich hang around in cafes. Well, they do. Canterlot is actually a fairly small city. It's about the size of the city of London, which is different to the. Yeah, it's complicated. Vatican City. There we go. It's about the size of Vatican City, from what I could see, because it is just a mountaintop keep. Like, you can't have a. That's not a lot of real estate. Okay, Pony Joe had been hearing the idle rich speak of it. For years and years they talked about that room, the passion in their normally apathetic voices, the fire and life and enthusiasm spoke volume of the significance. So yeah, it's not volumes, it's volume. When he had asked about it, they only laughed at him and made a point to never speak of any details beyond its name out loud. The rest was spoken in what could be surmised as innuendo or metaphor. The Canterlot's Hotel, Celestia Suite. The Canterlot Hotel's Celestia Suite was the only certainty that could be extracted, the most expensive suite in all of Equestria. Pony Joe had started his business, content to live out his life building up a small business in the capital city, to live in the high culture, to have the honor of so many important ponies come into his place for a good old cup of joe and his patented donuts. There's a pause. I need to pause here somewhere. To live in the high culture. That's it. To live in the high culture, to make sure. Yeah, that's fine. To maybe build a legacy to pass on to a little Pony Joe, and live for the rest of his life comfortable and happy in the knowledge that he had all his life's aspirations come true. But then he tasted success, perhaps too much of it. Now Pony Joe had more time and money than he could spend. His hooves didn't need to knead dough, no make honey. His mind wasn't busy with inventory and orders and audits. He was in all respects and purposes another of the idle rich, the kind that was on the bottom of the barrel rich, than filthy rich. Hey, character references. But rich enough nonetheless. With nothing to occupy his mind, the desire to know what lay behind laid behind? No. Laid behind the Celestia Suite's door had started from a passing interest of some young ambitious cult to a frustrating obsession of an idle maid stallion. That is a really long sentence. Okay. With nothing to occupy his mind, the desire to know the possession started from a... I think I struggled with this sentence before. With nothing to occupy his mind, the desire to know what lay behind the Celestia Suite's door had started from a passing desire, to a frustrating obsession of an idle and maid stallion. His life savings was all it took to see the door, and all he had to do was open it. If he could see behind that door, then he could have himself. He wanted to open this door and feel disappointed by the weird idea of a rich person's prospect of paradise. He wanted to feel content that he was raised in a world where such things as paradise was too good a thing to be true, like his hard life as a small business man, pony owner. Yeah, just play it safe. God, writing business ponies is God, doesn't feel right. But what if it wasn't? What if it really was everything any pony ever wanted? The very thing would destroy him. His business, his ideals, his dreams would be forfeit for just another taste of the sweet ambrosia. You know, that thing the god liked. And it's actually a breed of apples. So, someone make the OC, sweet ambrosia. Out of the many hardships in his life, this could actually finally ruin him. Joseph, what are you doing here? Pony Joe turned away from the door towards the elevator. Before him was Fancy Pants, one of his most generous patrons. The gentle colt walked over to him, inspecting his uncharacteristic attire. At least that's what Pony Joe thought what Fancy was looking at him for. He probably thought it didn't suit him, or he didn't belong here. Pony Joe thought that he thought Fancy was thinking. Yeah, that made sense. Yeah, it does make sense. What I'm doing here, well, it didn't occur to Pony Joe that he had every right to be here. He paid fair and square and was given the keys to open the Celestia Suite before him. Leave. Usually Pony Joe would explode with outrage at such a blunt command, but there was sincerity in Fancy that Joe knew to not be ignored. Less of a threatening command, but a heartfelt plea that only Fancy could say with a single expression of a word. Basically, an impossible thing. Because if you just say leave to someone, it's going to come off as very aggressive. But I'm saying this because I'm putting this here. Less of a threatening command, but a heartfelt plea that only Fancy could say with a single expression of a word. I'm just trying to imply that Fancy is a very charismatic fellow. That he can say something so rude, but make it come off as something so charming. You know, something sincere and kind and and non-aggressive, friendly even. But Fancy, he came for what he paid for. You don't want to see what's inside that door. What's behind that door, I promise you. Fancy put a hoof to Joe's chest and pushed him away from the door and putting himself in the way. Let me read that again. Fancy put a hoof to Joe's chest and pushed him away. Yeah. Away from the door. He then put himself in the way. To the door, or just leave it like that? I say just leave it. Time is a wasting. Joe wanted to once again try to remark something about how badly he wanted to see what every pony had been talking about for so many years, but Fancy's next words stopped him dead on his tracks. If you happen to do... Wait. You don't want to see what's behind that door, I promise you, if you happen to... do so. But yeah. If you happen to, then I will positively kill you. Knew that he didn't literally mean kill as in end his life, but by the seriousness of one of the most kind and polite pony. Ponies. Though it would be nice to be if you actually made pony as a plural. Because I think that actually suits it more when it comes to equestrian stuff. No, I guess this is the correct way to say it. But in terms of aesthetic, pony just sounds better. Just like geese. Geese and goose. Ponies. And pony. The pony race. Wait. I think I have it. Okay. Let me just read it again. But by the seriousness of one of the most kind and polite pony. Yeah. Because of the one of the kind. Yeah, it has to be ponies. Even uttering such a strong word suggests a very real possibility of seriousness in his threat. Joe was confused, scared, and had even more nagging curiosity. In his maelstrom of motivation, Joe could only utter the simplest word to express it all. What? For all that's good in Equestria, Joseph, please. Now Fancy was looking him straight in the eye, holding his hooves on Joe's shoulder in beseechment. That did it. There was no defiance, and Joe left. Yes, sir. If it's you asking, I'll go. Fancy was a good pony. There was no way Joe could refuse him. Good lad. You have my gratitude. Truly, I'll repay this to you, I promise. Fancy made extra sure of Joe's lack of involvement with the reassuring pat on the back and a trip to the ground floor via the elevator. Oh, that used the word lift. Oh well. I guess elevator sounds fancier. Though a tad mechanical. Thank you, sir, said Joe as the door slammed closed on his face. Fancy's back being the only thing as his received reply. Repay me. Joe kind of hopes it. Yeah, because I was in the mindset of Joe right at this moment. Joe kind of hoped it was his life savings back, but somehow he knew it wasn't what Fancy meant. Fancy was good and kind, but he was no element of generosity. Hey. And end. So let's see. And I have author's notes here. What did I write? Lala is warped in perception of basic human ideas of emotion. God, I can't. Cause yeah. Considering the fun, yeah, I wrote this after I wrote the Two Ponies Go Out and In the Mind of a Royal Guard, and it just suggested to me that most readers in film fiction are fucking idiots, and I have to spell out a lot of fucking shit. So I added these notes just to spell out, this is what I'm doing. Yeah, and sometimes people comment and say give the most asinine suggestions simply because they don't really get the theme, even though with a basic reading you do get it. Like, it's there implied. Like, we've gone through the chapter and I have made sure it's all very clear. A few minor snafus there, but you get it. It's very easy to understand. Okay, in what way will oh god, will it be explored next chapter? But the hints are there for those who want to hazard a guess. Yes, Lala and La Petite are both her names. So that's me anticipating a few questions here and there. Let's see what comments that I got. I'm a little confused, to be honest, but I hope it'll actually I better not do that because there's usernames there. Now how do I save? I think that's it. Yeah, so that's saved, hopefully. That's 3,000 words right there, so I'm saving that. And that's chapter 1, guys. It only took like a fucking hour. Till next time.